another episode of Nighttime. I'm your host, Kathleen Moore, alongside Matthew Bracker. Matthew, it sure has been a minute since our last episode.
Yeah, I never want to host on a Monday again. Garfield might have a point, but hey, happy Valentine's Day, Kathleen. And happy Valentine's Day, Nighttime fans. You might not have a Valentine, but hey, you got us.
Yep. We have got a thrilling lineup for you today, recapping all of the major upsets in college basketball from the past week, because apparently the word underdog is just a new synonym for bracket breaker. As always, we will be going through the rundown highlights, the best moments around college sports, and finally, we will be debuting a new segment named after your two favorite hosts, aka just another opportunity for Matthew and I to further feed our huge egos. But let's jump right into recapping some of the biggest upsets college basketball had to offer. Let's first go to South Carolina, where Clemson hosted the formerly number 2 ranked Duke Blue Devils for an ACC matchup. Tyrese Proctor with a short little pass to Sion James. Proctor makes a cut, asks for the ball back, and puts our first points on the board. Nice little three for him. Cooper Flagg had 3 steals on the day, and this was one of them. Him and Chauncey Wiggins are the only ones on that half of the court when Cooper makes the dunk. Second half now, this game it's still going to be very tight. Clemson down 3. He passes it to Shiflin, the forward. He drills the deep 3, giving us a tie game. All right, less than a minute left in this game now. Clemson is down by 1 in their own half, trying to make something happen here for the miracle. Chase Hunter drives, signed, sealed, and delivered. This game is over. Unranked Clemson earned some cred with the 77-71 victory.
Who would have thought that that is the result there?
No,
but
no
we're
idea.
moving into our game of the week pick last week. It's Auburn and Florida. This game wasted no time as Auburn goes up 5 early. Now, Florida up late in the half. They're going to step up to the 3-point line here and just drill it without a doubt. He's going to pull up from deep. Second half getting started now. Florida. Now, they managed to pull away almost 10 points against the 1 seed. And Walter Clayton Jr. misses it, but the rebound is knocked back out to Aberdeen. Auburn doesn't even know the clock is still running. He's on the floor. It is good. Now down almost 10 with 20 seconds. Auburn is trying to make something happen, but it's no use. The 1 seed falls 90-81, and I got the game of the week pick right.
Okay, we'll talk more on that later, but now on to St. John's hosting former powerhouse UConn. Don't know what happened to them. They're down by 14. Not exactly how you want to start this game, but St. John's starts to get in on the action. End of the half here, these guys are putting the work to catch up and played some great defense. Quick little pass followed by a drive and a picture-perfect layup to put St. John's with the lead for one of the first times in the game so far. Second half, tie game, 5 minutes left. A quick little jumper from Kaderi Richmond, still trying to create the separation with 12 seconds left. The pass from underneath to the fadeaway jumper on the buzzer is good. St. John's upsets UConn, 68-62.
St. John's is on a run right now. It is absolutely insane. And I mean, look, I know they're good, but UConn is still UConn. It might be
I don't know.
Panic time over there. But now we welcome on Andrew Greig and Robert Hudson to talk a little, should I do it? A little brackertology?
Oh, he did it.
That was so bad. Gentlemen, how's it going?
Move on.
Yeah, come on,
We can't
guys,
do this.
please.
Brackertology, man. It's going great. I mean, I wanted to talk a little bit about how the SEC is rolling through the season and a couple of the bubble picks that I have, especially with Vanderbilt pulling off the upset earlier last week.
Of course. We will get to that soon. Andrew, how is it going?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm ready to talk brackertology, as you're calling it.
Of course. Now, we'll get into our first question here. UConn lost to St. John's earlier this week, like we showed, seeing them become unranked for the first time since 2022. What has led to the fall-off of UConn?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to call it a fall-off when they have been ranked for the majority of the season. They're, I think, probably the first time all season not being ranked in the AP poll, so it's hard to call it a fall-off if you want to. Obviously, coming from the top back-to-back national champions, it is a bit of a fall-off, but it's also, you have to mention the fact that they're losing 6 of their best players from the last 2 years, 4 of them to the NBA draft. Obviously, they've lost some transfers as well. So, like when you're dealing with a completely new team, it's safe to say that they're not the same team and they're a worse team than they are, but they still have some quality wins against a bunch of quad 1 opponents. So it's hard to say that the fall-off has been too stark, but they're definitely not as good as they were the last couple of seasons.
No, yeah, I can agree with you. It's not like a stark fall-off, but, you know, when you're coming from back-to-back championships, it's hard to compare a season like this to true success.
I don't think they should have became unranked, though. St. John's is a good team, and it's, what, it was like 12 versus 19 or something?
Okay.
I don't think they should be unranked
At the end
of
the day, it's St. John's.
Okay.
Like, they're always the sneaky underdog in March Madness.
Yeah, they're the Cinderella story obviously has started before March Madness has started.
Of course.
Robert, what do you think about you?
I mean, UConn, they've been back-to-back national champions, and they're a powerhouse team for sure, and they're a team nobody wants to play. But St. John's just came in there, and St. John's is a quality team, and they just picked up a really quality win against UConn.
Yeah, following up on that, St. John's is ranked for the first time. What has led to this rise of St. John's?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Coach Rick Pitino is a big part of the fact that they are such a good team this season. He went from the Iona Gales, obviously not one of the premier teams in any NCAA sport, and then took over a St. John's team that hasn't been good as of recently, but is one of the storied programs in all of college basketball. They have a long history of doing well in the NCAA tournament and at least making it there. So definitely not a team to be slept on, and they have a top 10 ranking at this point. Obviously, they did just lose, so maybe falling out of that upper echelon of maybe a 2 or 3 seed. But they've just been consistently one of the best teams in the country. Only 4 losses on the season, a bunch of really quality wins, a bunch of ranked wins. So St. John's and Rick Pitino just has made that team like one of the best teams in the country. So obviously something that you love to see for a smaller school looking to get back to where they were.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Obviously, first in the Big East. First time ranked since 2000. Robert, what do you think about St. John's?
They have a lot of potential, especially when they come into March. They've shown beating UConn in this atmosphere and in this game of a basketball powerhouse that in March they have the potential to be your bracket buster.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So moving into this Auburn-Florida game, what sort of impact will the number 1 Auburn and number 2 Duke's losses will have to people's brackets this season?
Yeah, I think that it's not going to be as big of a stated impact as the question implies. Auburn didn't drop a spot in the new AP poll after that loss, and then obviously Duke dropped 1 spot, but are currently tied for the number 3 team in the country. I think both of these teams have done enough throughout the season to not really have an impact this late in as long as they don't crater off and lose a bunch of games. They should be both at least top 2 seeds in the country, if not both of them. Realistically, at this point, should both have a number 1 seed in the country. Duke is the best team in the ACC. Auburn is arguably the best team in the SEC. Obviously, with that Florida loss, it's hard to say those 2 teams are 2 of the best teams in the country. Obviously, you have teams like Tennessee, but Auburn is one of the best teams in the country, and I don't think that a loss to a Florida team should discount that too much. The Florida is the number 3 team in the country as well. Right,
and Robert, your opinion?
I mean, it really comes down to that end of the season and the individual tournaments they're going to play in. Auburn has to still go through that SEC gauntlet. Speaking of, they just lost to Florida. They are going to have to play against either Tennessee or Alabama in that tournament to win the SEC. So unless they crater in that tournament, the loss against Florida really shouldn't change too much.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. But all right, we are just about a month away from March. The madness is about to begin. So it's time to get into some brackertology and start with some bubble watching. What do you guys think is the best in the mixed team? I'm going to go first here, and I'm going to say there's some guys from the Big 12 that we know a little too well. It's BYU. Now listen, BYU, I think they should make it in. I know there's a lot of conversation, but I think that they have had a pretty solid schedule so far. They're 16-8. Their only problem is they don't have a win against a good team, like a powerhouse team. They have losses here from, at the time when they were ranked, Ole Miss, Houston, and Arizona, right? But BYU, they have a chance against Kansas, Arizona, and they play Iowa State later. As you can see here, Saunders is a bucket getter, and Keita is great defensively, and they're really good at assisting. They're one of the top 30 in the country in assists, with about 17 per game, and points per game, they got about 80. I think that's average. That's pretty solid. So I think that they can put it together. And when you're talking about a bubble team who's really on the edge, I think you got to say BYU could tip the scales.
Yeah, I like the pick. For me, I'm going to go UNC. Everyone knows UNC basketball. You can never count them out in a tournament setting. RJ Davis, he leads the team with 17 points per game, absolutely balling out this season. And most of UNC's losses on this season come from top 5 ranked teams or big conference rivals, because as we know, the ACC is one of the most competitive basketball conferences in basketball. And UNC every single year has one of the hardest roads to March Madness tournaments. The ACC tournament is always very competitive, and then they make it into March Madness, and they're playing all of their division rivals because everyone in the ACC is always so good.
Yeah. I mean, they're a storied, team for sure, so I definitely don't hate the pick. Now, Robert, you mentioned them earlier, Vanderbilt. Why are they your pick?
Well, just as I mentioned with Auburn going into that SEC tournament, going to be a gauntlet, Vanderbilt being in the SEC has a gauntlet to go through the regular season. Outside of the SEC, they were 12-1 in non-conference play, and then in the SEC, they've already pulled off 2 upsets between Kentucky and Tennessee that contribute to their record. And then recently they lost to Auburn. They were down 15-0 to start that game, and yet at half they were 45-42. Bruce Pearl of Auburn said after the game, would anybody be surprised if we had lost that? No, this is a great team. And that's really what Vanderbilt is it's a team, they're not going to go in, they're not going to be a 3 or a 4 seed coming out of the SEC, but they're going to be a team that nobody wants to see in March Madness, right? Vanderbilt will go through and they will fight every last inch for every basket, every win. And in between that Tennessee and this Auburn game, they also beat Texas. Texas was another bubble team that was competing with Vanderbilt, and they went in and they lost. And so Vanderbilt comes through and out ahead of Texas. They have more quad 2 wins, and they have several more quad 1 games left to play. And so they still have a great chance to improve their record and their standing, not to mention they're already in the bracket as of now.
Yeah, I think the quad wins are so important too, because it shows the committee that you're winning at different points in your season. So I think, you sold me. I think Vanderbilt can pull it off. Andrew, let's wrap it up. Who is your pick?
Yeah, so I have West Virginia, and obviously we mentioned great basketball conferences. The Big 12 is definitely one of them, and one of the hardest roads to get to March Madness leads through the Big 12. West Virginia's done a good job of winning the games that they need to, and then winning some of the games that they probably shouldn't have. They beat Kansas as well as Arizona and Iowa State, Kansas and Arizona on the road. So 2 of the best teams in that conference. They beat them on the road, showing that they have what it takes to be one of the best teams in college basketball. They're also in ESPN's latest bracketology, a 9 seed. So really for the in the mix category, I don't even know if you can qualify them. I kind of took the easy road out here. I took one of the teams that are easily probably going to be in the tournament, as long as they don't, as we said earlier, crater off. So I don't know. West Virginia is just one of the better teams, and I don't even know if they deserve to be in the mix. They're probably already in the tournament.
Right. So finally, UCF is no longer listed on ESPN's in the bubble section. The Knights have lost 5 straight games, not having a single win in February. Is it over?
Well, it could very well be, given that the Big 12 doesn't have the depth that the Big 10 or the SEC have had in the past, and the amount of SEC teams that are competing, looking right now close to 13 teams into the bracket. You're going to find a hard time for other in the mix teams to get in. You're looking at UCF, and they still have a great chance to make it into the bracket, but they need to play really well down the stretch.
I think they have to be perfect, truthfully.
Right.
I don't know. If they don't start getting some more wins, I might be completely turned off the idea, but, maybe there's a 10% chance. Maybe. What do you guys think? Andrew?
Yeah, unfortunately, the season's over. There's 0% chance that the UCF Knights make the NCAA tournament, unfortunately. We are definitely NIT bound, which is unfortunate because of the talent on this team. There are a lot of great players. Mikey Williams obviously starting to get more minutes, but the fact that we had injuries so early into the season has affected a lot of the rotations, and we haven't really been able to get a consistent flow. Losing 5 games at any point, 5 games straight at any point, will kind of take your chances at making March Madness, especially in a Big 12 conference where they currently sit at 4-9. There's just absolutely no chance that the UCF Knights make it. And to be honest, I'm a UCF fan, but they don't deserve to make it. They have the worst scoring defense in the Big 12, and they let up nearly 85 points a game. They're not a tournament team, and yeah.
That's tough. Strong words, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But it's time to get into the game of the week picks. Gentlemen, we are looking at Alabama, Auburn, 2 powerhouses. Really fast now, who do you think is going to take this one?
Robert, you can have it.
I'm going to have to pick Auburn. Alabama is a high-paced, high-scoring team, but at times, if they don't make those 3-pointers, they're going to lose the game by a large margin. I think Auburn's defense takes it here.
Yeah, 2 of the best teams in the country. Obviously, we're getting the Iron Bowl, but in the basketball form, I think that Alabama, unfortunately, pulls it out over Auburn and gets the upset.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go for the upset here, too, because I have been going for the past 3 weeks.
Put it on.
Dang it, Matthew. I have been going with the higher-ranked team every single week, and it hasn't done me well. So I'm going Alabama for the upset.
Well, I will tell you what, everybody.
Oh
Patrick Mahomes couldn't complete the
I can't-
three-peat, but
I
did. So give me Auburn. I bet against them last week, but I think they are going to get the job done here. But that's going to do it for this segment. Thank you guys so much for coming on. Appreciate having you, as always. and we will see how poorly these picks pan out next month. But we are going to cover the rundown. That is next segment, so don't go anywhere.
Hello. So I guess the crew's getting ready for the next
to say
segment
Auburn.
on one of our amazing shows. I'm Nick Cohen, host of season 20 of Hitting the Field, and let me tell you about those amazing shows. On behalf of HTF, we hope you're enjoying today's content, but I'm here to tell you about everything else we offer here at the network. Mondays at 4, HTF Bets goes live for season 10 with 3 gamblers that, although it may not always seem like it, are here to help us all earn a little bit of extra money while we watch sports. Diego Ortiz, Tyler Brownrigg, and Andrew Greig's ball knowledge and fun personalities make this show a fan favorite. On Tuesdays, you all loved it, so we brought it back for season 2. It's Girls Got Game, hosted by Frankie Noble, a show blending women in sports, the biggest sports news stories, and creative segments that make for a fun and engaging show. Next is everyone's favorite sports podcast, The Combine, hosted by who other than Ty Patton, an easygoing, conversational, and technical podcast dropping Wednesdays, also on Spotify at The Combine. Then tune in Thursdays at noon for the network's main show, season 20 of Hitting the Field, hosted by me. Here, we'll cover any sport, any topic, any story, no matter how obscure. We love some football, basketball, hockey, F1. We also cover baseball, soccer, and we even have to show the UFC love sometimes. Penultimately, TGIF, because Friday is nighttime, hosted by Kathleen Moore and Matthew Bracker. Season 8 of Nighttime is where you'll turn to for all things March Madness, UCF sports, and other collegiate events. We're ending with something brand new. HTFN has never had 6 shows running at once. Also filmed in our new podcast studio is HTFC, hosted by Edgar Rodriguez and Patrick De Leon. Football, or soccer in America, is the most popular sport in the world. Across multiple leagues and cups, soccer is a year-round sport, and HTFC is your news source to stay updated. Also on Spotify, by the way, at HTFC. Outside of our 6-show roster, be sure to tune in to our other content, such as the Studio Days vlog, run by our vlog squad of Brianna St. Jean, Michaela Croker, Ashley Rowe, and Ben Huber. Make sure to follow us on our social medias like Instagram, Facebook, and X to stay updated on all HTFN news. Remember to subscribe right here on YouTube, leave a like and comment. And with that, I think we're ready for your next segment. I'm Nick Cohen. Thank you for your continued support, and back to your regularly scheduled programming.
Welcome to the Rundown, and we've got a rundown for you today, so let's get right into it. Samantha Ray, top 10 Sports Center play of the week.
Yeah, this was crazy. I was watching ESPN, and then all of a sudden, our own UCF softball Samantha Ray made it with a very crazy play in the outfield. And honestly, I think this is just a testament to her speed. She is one of the best players on this team. Look at that grab.
Oh my gosh, it's so impressive. The athleticism that she's exhibiting in this play is just unreal. She's a baller.
Yeah, no, she just dives out for it. Obviously here number 6 on top 10.
8 hits in 8 games so far, batting .381. But what you see here is just her sheer speed. Sure, she has 3 RBIs, but she also has 8 runs. She's a monster on the bases. She just needs to work on stealing bases.
Yeah,
right,
obviously, you know, like we said, she has speed, but she just needs to utilize it more on the base pass because she only has 2 stolen bases so far on the season. I think if she really dedicated herself to that part of her game, I think that she could, you know, at least crack 20 on the season.
Right.
For sure. And that's important, you know. Stolen bases, I mean, you're stealing a base from the other team. We need that. But
Thank you.
We're going to keep talking about softball here because UCF started this season 6-2. They're on a tear right now. Obviously, a loss last night to Liberty and earlier this season in Georgia, but a walk-off against Missouri a couple days ago. UCF softball is hot.
We are a softball school, Matthew.
You think so?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So obviously we had the loss to ranked Liberty last night, and then tomorrow we play number 5 ranked Texas A&M. So I'm very curious to see how that goes, if our girls are going to pull it out. Really, I think that they should be coming up on being ranked on the season, but
I definitely agree. The losses to Georgia and, you know, Liberty, that's not going to help our case. I think if we have a strong game tomorrow, I think that definitely will. And I think that we can do it. I think that our pitching is really solid with, you know, Caitlin Felton and someone I'm going to mention a little later in the show, Isabella Vega. They are just on a tear right now. And, you know, I love this team. I love softball. I love baseball. And it's just so nice to see a UCF team
actually do well.
Winning. Well, I'm going to say winning early because, you know, we don't know. But
yeah, nobody knows.
Talking about another team.
Yeah, let's move into Caitlin Peterson. She scored her 1,000th point, which is just absolutely
Yeah.
insane. One of her best games was against Texas Southern. She scored 39 points in that game. She played 40 minutes. She made 15 field goals, and then she made 6 3-pointers. I mean, very dominant game.
She is a UCF legend as far as I'm concerned. She has done absolute wonders for this team, especially in a season that hasn't really gone our way, you know. But you look at some of the stats on the season here: 21.5 points per game, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. What I like here is the defense she brings. I don't think a lot of people talk about it. 2.5 steals. I think she's a baller. She needs to be talked about how we talk about Darius Johnson on this team, on this show, or Keyshawn Hall. She is right there with them.
Yeah, there's no excuse because it's not like women's or men's basketball are doing significantly better than the other. So
exactly.
I see no reason why we're not talking about Caitlin Peterson the same way we talk about our Pookie Bear, Darius Johnson.
Exactly. But moving on, we do have a little fun bit here. Kansas State extended an offer to 5-star wide receiver Booby Feaster.
Oh no.
And Booby's a great player, and when he gets on the field, he really feasts against DBs. Now, here's an issue here. His name is Ethan. His name is Ethan. He's a liar. Your name's not Booby? So what I want to know is, when did you get this nickname, Booby? How did you get this nickname? Maybe we can't talk about it on nighttime. Maybe that's not really
talk to him about
appropriate.
It,
but Ethan? Booby? Do you see the correlation? Because I don't.
Oh no.
I don't.
Oh no.
What do you think? What do you think? Because I don't know what to think. You're a liar. Hey, he's no gooey tip. He's no General Booty.
Oh my God. Okay, guys, we just need to move past Ethan here. Ethan.
Yeah, because that's his name. That's his God-given name, not Booby.
Okay, moving on. We had 4 Big 12 players playing in the Super Bowl, one of which was actually Andy Reid, who played at BYU, which didn't know that.
I
That's
had
pretty
no
cool.
idea until Justice
Cincinnati
said
had
that,
2 Chiefs players, including Travis Kelce and Brian Cook, a safety for Kansas City. And then BYU obviously had Andy Reid, classic.
Yeah.
And then Kansas State had 1 Eagle, Felix Nduke Uzoma. He is a defensive end for the Eagles, so fly, Eagles, fly.
Yeah,
Go Birds,
I want
go
to
Big
give I
12.
want to give you the floor in this segment. Obviously,
Yeah, because
we all know you are a
boobies
huge
for an
Eagles
entire
fan.
minute.
Happy Super Bowl! Congratulations.
Thank you. It's really nice to see Big 12 representation in the Super Bowl. And you know what? It just makes me dislike Cincinnati even more because of Travis Kelce. So get out of here, Travis Kelce.
That was brutal.
Get out
That
of here,
was a brutal
Cincinnati.
game.
Yeah, that was a great game. I had the most fun watching it.
Oh, I had a lot of fun watching it.
Oh, boy.
It was great. But we're gonna move on. This was a very derailed segment. But hey, you know what? We like to have fun here on Nighttime. So don't go anywhere because next segment we'll be debuting 2 new nighttime bits. That's after this.
Behind every on-screen moment is a whole team of engineers and technologists.
And you can be a part of such a team through SMPTE at UCF. You'll join a team of students just like you who are ready to innovate the future of TV and film.
With SMPTE at UCF, you'll be able to connect with local industry pros, learn about new technology in the industry, as well as get backstage experience that really matters. Join SMPTE for a backstage pass to all of this.
We meet every last Monday of the month for our general body meetings. There, we discuss how new technology is being used to create new media, and we get to highlight local professionals and their specialties.
On top of that, we have some site visits planned, so tune into our social media to be notified of when those will happen.
So if you're ready to pull back the curtain and find out what really happens behind the scenes, join SMPTE at UCF.
And welcome back to Nighttime. It's time to get into a brand new segment here on the show. Decided to take a little field trip from the desk to give you Matthew's Most Valuables, breaking down the week's top college plays and players. So let's get right into it with a trip to the Ivy League. Known for their scholars, not their ballers. It's Dartmouth here. He's going to put up a ball, awful air ball, but a hustle play here, and he's going to jump over his own teammate for the 3 and drill it. Great play by the big man, and Haskins redeems himself. Number 5 on SportsCenter, number 5 on MMV. Number 4, now any JUCO baseball fans watching? Florida Southwestern. They put belt to butt today. And Michael McAloose with the finishing touches, grand slam. One of 2 players to hit for a cycle on the day. And the Bucks, 1 down 4-1 in this game, score 30 unanswered runs in 7 innings. Let's take a look at this swing here. Absolute perfection. Nothing better than the sound of a metal bat. Watch out for the Bucks JUCO. They are coming. That's number 4. Now number 3 is Oklahoma at TCU. Horned Frogs down 2, 3 to go. This guy's going to lob it down court, but it's tipped, but it's in the hands of a player. It's put up TCU for the win. Can you believe it? LaShawn Allett ends it on an improbable inbound. That doesn't happen without this tip at half court. This is Micah Robinson with the heads-up play to fall right into his hands, and that's going to win it for him. That's number 3. But number 2, though, it's going to be a play from a couple weeks ago. Didn't get to cover on nighttime, but that doesn't matter. What even is time? Arizona down 3 with 2 seconds left, and Caleb Love heaves it for the tie. They're going to go to overtime and get the win. Happy Valentine's Day, Caleb Love. Let's look at this again. The way he lines up his shot with the basket with a man in his face is unbelievable. Get ready, everybody, because March Madness is coming. But you have to play this week to be number 1, and that's going to be UCF softball. Outfielder Madison Simons sends this out to center, and this ball is going to be just out of reach. Kayla Lunger is going to be thinking about that one all season long. She's regretting her decision to ever pick up a bat, but UCF walks off number 15 ranked Missouri. Let's take another look at this swing. It's an absolute meatball right in the center of the plate to send Coco James home. She doesn't know whether to run or not, but it's going to complete the comeback for the Knights. So congratulations to you, Madison, and all of our Lady Knights. You get the first ever MMV trophy. You're the best of the best. Also, quick shout out to freshman pitcher Isabella Vega to come in after we gave up 5, throw 127 pitches and strike out 9. What a great way to start your career in the black and gold. But that'll do it for me and my most valuables. It's time to head back to the desk for a conversation on the most notable college players in this year's Super Bowl. Go Birds! For more on this, Kathleen Moore.
Thank you, Matthew, for that entertainment segment. I'm sure you really enjoyed getting to talk uninterrupted for like 4 minutes
Yes,
straight.
I did.
Well, today I have Augie Aronson at the desk with me. How are you doing?
Doing great.
Yeah, this is like basically your nighttime debut, so very
basically.
exciting spot to do it.
Basically.
But you know what? Let's get right into it. All in all, there are 71 different colleges between the rosters of the Chiefs and Eagles being represented in the Super Bowl this year. So which college do you think had the best players in the big game?
I don't really think it's close. It's Alabama,
Right.
and that's counting Jalen Hurts.
Right.
I'm not giving him. He played 3 years. That's plenty of enough time.
Yeah.
But Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, Landon Dickerson, all those guys had serious contributions to this game. And yeah, it's Alabama. And it looks like we both chose Alabama.
Oh, yes, we did, because it's kind of indisputable. Listen, if Alabama can claim Jalen Hurts, we can definitely claim Dylan Gabriel. Like, hello? But,
yeah, definitely.
But
definitely.
anyway, Alabama had absolutely the greatest players in the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts, obviously Super Bowl MVP. He had such an amazing game. It was like 222 some passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, like just amazing performance out of him. What player in the Super Bowl, though, do you think had the best college career?
Now, there's obviously a couple that come to mind first. Devontae
Right.
Smith, who I think definitely did too.
Yeah.
He definitely had the best career. It's Devontae Smith. Guy won the Heisman. He was like the 4th ever wide receiver, or one of the only other wide receivers to win it, excuse me. The guy had the triple crown in college. Led him in touchdowns, receptions, and yards with 1,823 touchdowns. Saquon Barkley obviously had a great career. But Saquon's best season, he wasn't the best running back in college football.
No.
That goes to Bryce Love.
Absolutely.
The Stanford running back. So, yeah. And looks like we both chose Devontae Smith, too. I think it's kind of...
It's kind of obvious. I mean, Devontae
Yeah.
Smith is the 4th player of all time to win the Heisman, the national championship, and the Super Bowl. I mean, he's in great company for that as
Absolutely.
well. But Devontae Smith actually, he lost his high school state championship in the Caesar Superdome when he was in high school. And then he came back next time he played there, other than,
Yeah.
regular season, he won a Super Bowl. So what an amazing full circle moment that is, right?
That is pretty cool. That's actually really cool.
I know,
it's
isn't it?
like going from bad memories to good memories in the Superdome.
Full circle, full circle. Both Oklahoma and Georgia, though, had 8 players in the Super Bowl. Which players would you rather have on your roster?
You got to start with QB1. It's got to be Jalen Hurts. Then you move to the other Jalen Carter. And then Lane Johnson and Creed Humphrey. We saw what kind of happened with the Chiefs O-line. Now, Creed Humphrey, obviously, is the center for the Chiefs. That Chiefs O-line was terrible, to be blunt. But Creed Humphrey's a great player. And so is Lane Johnson, what do you think? Is he going to retire? Has he announced anything?
See, he's been... There's been conversations about whether or not he's going to retire, but honestly, I think he's going to ride the high of this Super Bowl. I think he's got 1 or 2 years left in him, honestly.
But going back to Jalen Hurts, as a Steelers fan, we've seen what happens when you don't have QB1. You need QB1. The guy played an incredible game.
He did.
So it's got to be him. And then Jalen Carter is one of the best young defensive pass rushers and interior defensive linemen in the league right now. So he's also got to be. It's an obvious choice, I think. What about you, though, Kathleen?
Right. I'm going to have to go with Hollywood Brown, Lane Johnson, Jordan Davis, and Jalen Carter. So I decided to go with one Chief and then also go with some Eagles players because go Birds. Go Birds. But Lane Johnson, Jordan Davis, and Jalen Carter, I think that they were just the backbone of these offensive and defensive line for the Eagles. I think they really won us the game because obviously Jalen Hurts get a great game. Yeah. But this game would not have been won without the offensive line and the defensive line.
Yeah, I like what you did there. You chose sides up front. And we saw who kind of dominated this Chiefs offensive line, and you went with two of those three guys there. And obviously, you're probably your best offensive lineman, like we were talking about Lane Johnson earlier, who you went with. Hollywood Brown, though, I feel like he's kind of on the back nine of his career a little bit. I don't know what you think about him. I feel like the last couple of years have kind of gone downhill, especially with the injury bug. I don't know. What do you think about him?
My argument with Hollywood Brown is that obviously this was an off game for the Chiefs, but the Eagles' defense, I mean, they're just too good to have anyone get anything through. But with Hollywood Brown, I think that he is still an asset to any team that he joins, but I think it's hard to stand out on the Chiefs.
That too.
I think that he would be a great player on a different roster. We'll put it that way. But I fear that we're out of time. That's so sad because this is such a fun segment. Thank you for everyone who came on the show and for everyone in studio. Hey, happy Valentine's Day to all the people who celebrate out there. Maybe when you see us again, UCF basketball will have won a game. Probably not, though. See you in the next one.